I am easing up on the sugar intake.
I was not led to believe he was easing up on the sugar intake by starting with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Oh, that's better. What's up, super friends? How are you today? Charlie William Parks here. I am a nutrition coach, a trainer, a kind of a natty bodybuilder, lifetime natural recreational bodybuilder. I like to lift things and put them down and lift them again and get bigger and then cut and all that fun stuff we do. Today, I've been asked, what do you think of Sam Sulek's eating? Per your request, I'm going to take a look at Sam Sulek's bulking video. I myself am cutting for the next few months and then I will be in a bulk, and I'd like to see, as a natty, are there some of the principles that Sam's used? Are there some of the foods that Sam's used that I can apply to my own bulk? Or being a natty, is it just not gonna cut it? I like watching Sam's videos. I like watching him talk. I think he has a really interesting perspective, and I want to see if I can apply it to what I do. If you guys like this sort of thing, please like, subscribe, comment, get involved, send me a super chat or something like that. Let me know what you want to hear about next. All right, here we go. Let's check out Sam's video.
There we go. What better aisle to start the first grocery trip of the bulk than the cereal aisle? So
yeah, I mean, now if I'm hungry, even if I'm bulking, I probably can't start in the cereal aisle. That just, you know, the old kind of instruction, I should say. I don't know if it's really a saying, but like, you know, you stick to the perimeter of the store, you're likely to find healthier options, maybe less calorically dense. You know, it's the inner aisles of the supermarket that get you. I don't know if I would start with cereal, even on a bulk, but let's see what Sam picks out.
I'm gonna curb my enthusiasm just a touch. I'm still gonna get Cinnamon Toast Crunch, of course. I mean, come on. It'd be crazy not to. But I'm honestly, for like the majority, I'm a bit more of a fan of the fucking Special K.
Be crazy not to. That's fair, Sam. For Sam, who may be able to do more with the calories based on his practices, he may get away a little more with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch in a bulk. As a natty, your body will only use so many calories to build muscle. The excessive surplus is not always conducive to being a natural athlete. That being said, calorie is calorie, absolutely true. The thing that I would be asking myself is, even in a bulk, do we want to put emphasis on having healthy foods, which what's healthy mean? I would say loaded with micronutrients, which I don't know that Cinnamon Toast Crunch is. Totally cool to have a enjoyable cereal once in a while, I think. I wouldn't be afraid of it, but by the same token, could not be a pinnacle of my bulk. The other thing you may want to consider is, for me personally, how does a food make you feel after eating it? If I consume a lot of sugar, I feel like dog stuff after. I'm probably not going to be leading with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, especially not first thing if I went food shopping. However, the Special K he mentioned, I could see myself having some Special K, maybe mixed into a Ninja Creamy, maybe mixed into some Greek yogurt, some of that low-fat Chobani stuff that we have, simply because, I mean, you're getting more carbs with less sugar, if that makes sense. I know sugar is a carb, but less excess added sugar. So if you enjoy that, that may be more of a natty-ish approach for me to attack the bulk gain teen without going too overboard with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but every once in a while, that's cool.
So again, like I kind of alluded to in the last day of the diet, I'm easing up on the sugar intake. I am easing up on the sugar intake.
I was not led to believe he was easing up on the sugar intake by starting with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Again, hats off to him for being able to do it.
Just slower digesting carb sources, you know, so it's not so kind of tough on my system in a way, which is something I've only kind of begun to really understand the value of.
Sam brings up a really, really good point here, and this is something I've been talking to a lot with my coaching clients lately, and just been talking about with friends in general. I don't think we're talking enough about the digestibility of the protein or the carbs and how they make us feel. The tougher a time your body has digesting something, not only do you feel uncomfortable, and that's kind of crummy, but you can't use as much of it. You can't use as much of the nutrients, right? So even when protein has a whole thing called bioavailability. There are some sources of protein your body can utilize better than others. Very often it's indicative of, is this a full protein, meaning it has all the amino acids in it, versus not, like kind of a vegetable protein. But the digestibility factor of something is really, really important. Whether your goal is to cut, bulk, or whatever it is, you never want to be losing muscle. For myself personally, I'm eating a lot more rice, brown rice, jasmine rice, even rice cakes lately. My body's digesting it really well. Good for you guys to think about. You know the macros of what you're eating. You kind of know how you feel when you eat it, which is super important, but how well are you digesting it? This is a big reason why people who eat vegan diets and whatnot, vegetarian diets, it's not that they can't get complete proteins by combining aminos, it's that they've got to eat a lot more of it. It's not as bioavailable. Here we go.
You know, I got to hit 280 somehow, and then fast forward a few months or a few years, I got to hit 300 somehow.
Surely he's talking about 300% intensity in the gym, not pounds, right? If you guys saw some of my before and after videos, it's much more of a, you know, heavy Charlie was probably like 223 at most. 280 or 300 natty is not gonna look pretty, guys. Not gonna look pretty.
Let's see, what's the smallest box? Yeah, I mean, come on. I'm not crazy. One of these is going in the cart. But don't worry, not all cereal.
If I brought Cinnamon Toast Crunch into my home, I would be crazy because that box would not last very long. So different definitions of crazy. Sam is very cool. That's okay.
Get a gallon of fucking, honestly, not whole milk, because I'm trying to ease up on the fat intake. I'm mainly concerned, my primary concern right now is maximizing my carb intake. I'm gonna still get, 150 grams of fats.
I feel like the thing I would be more focused on if I'm bulking is I want the protein post-workout especially, and carbs kind of pre and post-workout to really be working my glycogen real good before and after the workout. The fat is going to slow down digestion. 150 grams of fat is a lot of fat for me because I'm not eating calorically what he's eating. I'm assuming based on watching some of his other videos, he's probably eating 5,000-6,000 calories a day. He's a big dude. Assume he's enhanced, right? So I assume he's eating a lot, which that 150 grams of fat a day is not a ton for him. For me personally, I ask myself where I'm getting the fat from. I also want to be conscious of how much saturated fat I'm eating in a day. That's generally animal fats. I myself eat a relatively low-fat diet as well, so I can kind of see the attraction to it. The extra fat doesn't do much for me. I'd rather be eating protein and carbs. I actually struggle to get in enough fat when I'm trying to hit my macronutrients. I would be more interested in it slowing digestion too much by over-consuming fats. That being said, based on how much I assume he will be eating, and also, having things like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which is gonna spike your sugar probably pretty quickly, I don't know how much of a concern that is for Sam.
Calorie fanatic, but you guys know what you're talking about. Calories are not always calories per se.
I love that he just said that. Calories are not always calories per se. We know about the first law of thermodynamics. We know about calories in, calories out. But some things have different effects on your body, even if the calories are the same. You have how the food makes you feel, right? I think Sam was mentioning fat makes him feel sluggish. Very valid point if it makes him feel that way. I choose not to because I don't want to eat as much fat. I prefer to eat the carbs and the protein. But also, you even have the thermic effect of food. You guys might see TEF, right? How much energy does it take to metabolize the food itself? Protein at about 30% has the highest TEF. So though a calorie is a calorie, when we're talking, calories in, calories out, do we want to be gaining weight or losing weight, surplus or deficit? Different calories definitely have different effects on us, even metabolically, I imagine it makes us feel differently. So that's a really good point, and I agree with Sam there 100%.
Two of these little things, a 2% reduced fat milk. Perfect. 2%
reduced fat milk, yeah, a heck of a lot better, I think, than whole milk if you're trying not to get the extra fat. I'm a Fairlife guy myself. I think he just got organic milk, which is always good. Only the baby in my house, the kids have full fat milk at this point.
I don't think I'm gonna eat only whole eggs. I might just do a few whole eggs coupled with some egg whites.
I think that makes the most sense for everyone. I don't think you need, even on a cut, for me personally, I don't need to fully avoid an egg yolk like it's an evil food or something like that. There's no real good or bad foods in my opinion, maybe other than like trans fats, which seem to just not be good. There are no good or bad foods, and you can have some you can have some egg yolks even on a cut. I think what Sam's trying to say is he doesn't want to overdo the fat, so he's going to limit the yolks a little bit. That makes a lot of sense to me. The egg whites are almost like all protein. But yeah, man, enjoy having some yolks with your whites, and if you calorically can keep it where you need it to be, absolutely. Even have an extra egg yolk. I don't think that's a problem, especially not in a bulk.
Why are you throwing away your yolks? If you want to have egg whites, I think just get egg whites in an egg white specific carton.
This is true. Egg yolks also are really good to bake with. So, if you get other stuff going on in the house, you can bake with them. We're doing these einkorn bagels right now, and it's einkorn flour, it's Greek yogurt. These things are phenomenal. The wife makes them. And we actually glaze them with the egg yolk at the end. So you don't have to consume all of them. And to his point, don't waste your money and throw them out. If you're not going to eat a ton of them, throw a yolk in there, add some egg white, and you'll be money. A good point for cutting too when you're going to be avoiding a lot more of that fat.
While we're on the topic of sweets, I'd feel crazy not to stop and get a fucking 6-pack of Krispy Kreme. I'm not going to slam these as soon as I get home, but just have those as a treat.
He's trying to avoid fat. He's going for the Krispy Kremes. Wow. Yeah. So let's check out, you know what, guys? Let's look at the nutrition of the Krispy Kreme, and we can properly respond to this. So I can tell you beforehand, before I look at this, I will not be eating Krispy Kremes very often, even on a bulk. It's just, for me, it's dangerous. And the biggest thing is I'm gonna feel like shit eating the Krispy Kreme. I understand if you have room in the bulk and maybe you're enhanced and you can do more with the calories and I get it. It's cool. It works for him. I love it. It would not work for me. I would not feel good after eating it. I don't think I would feel ready to really go and lift well. I need my bodybuilding foods of sort, as crude as that is to say. Let's check out what the nutrition is on one of these suckers. So 190 calories. Now I'm on their website, right? Original glazed donut. I don't know if you get sprinkles or fucking deliciousness or something like that with it, but I'm sure it's delicious without. So first ingredient is wheat flour. It makes sense. Then you got some water. Okay, then there's oil, sugar. So wheat, oil, sugar. This is not gonna probably have an enormous amount of protein. So what do we have? Let's break it down gram to calorie. Krispy Kreme donut, 11 grams of fat. There are 100 calories of fat, 99, in this donut. This is mostly fat that he's eating. So I know Sam is trying to avoid fat on this bulk, which is awesome. This is probably a treat for Sam, but this is basically eating mostly fat. 22 grams of carbs, which is almost 50 calories. I'm not overly worried about that. I think that's, frankly, for Sam, a guy his size, that is not extraordinary for carbs. 3 grams of protein, which is not much. 5 grams of saturated fat, again, not terrific. No trans fat, which is good. Sodium's low. So yeah, this is probably a treat for him. This is not what I would say would be optimal if I was trying to have a low-fat diet or a low-fat bulk even.
Like I said, I do want most of my carbs coming from sort of slower digesting carb sources. So that's where I'm headed now.
With the Krispy Kreme, I don't think it's a matter of the frequency of the digestion of the carb. You're pairing those carbs with an enormous amount of fat in that donut. I think it's more a matter of he probably wants to eat more carbs in general in this bulk than having such a calorically dense kind of high fat option a lot. Again, he said it's a treat, so the guy deserves a treat.
So that's
YouTube superstar.
Is to try to find some fucking rice.
Yes. Rice. We chatted about it earlier. Abso-stinking-lutely. The number one thing that I am consuming carb-wise right now, other than I have a good amount of a cream of wheat during the day for Rena, rice is fantastic. I have different kinds of rice based on what I'm doing. I might go for more jasmine rice on a day that I'm really training intensely, which I love. I make it in the Instant Pot, totally replenishing the glycogen, helping with recovery and that stuff. On a day that I'm not as active, for example, today I'm in the middle of a deload. I rested yesterday, a little more brown rice, add some fiber in there and slow the digestion a little bit, a little more of a constant stream of energy. There is no good or bad. You are just removing fiber or having rice with fiber, which is the brown rice. So see what it serves you, but yes, rice 1000%. If I was going to be doing a bulk, which I am in a few months, rice will be key.
I'm a massive kind of instant rice fan, to the point where it's like just the individual packets you can throw in the microwave. Not the most cost-effective method though.
Extraordinary point. If you guys are making food and you're going to be eating it on the regular, and you know you're eating rice every day, do not fucking buy 4,000 packets of rice. Listen, you can make it on the stove. You don't have to invest in anything. I use the Instant Pot, which is worth its weight in gold. The thing's fantastic. But make yourself a big portion of rice, guys. Put it in a container, glass, whatever the hell you want to use. Scoop it out. A little hack for you guys. Sometimes people get confused on, I know the raw rice weighed this much and it was this many calories, and then the cooked rice, how much is water, this and that. I'll make it really simple for you. Weigh whatever you're putting the rice in. Okay, so let's say you're using a pot. Weigh the pot, add your ingredients, add the water and all of that. When it's done, weigh it again, subtract what you started with, and divide by however many servings it was. So let me give you an example. Okay, my pot weighs 1 pound. I'm adding 45 grams, 90 grams of rice, whatever it is. Let's say it's 2 servings, 90 grams of rice. I add all this water in, doesn't even matter. Cook it through. When you're done, weigh it. Take away the 1 pound of the pot. That you're not eating the pot, I hope. Well, not eating it. And now you have whatever that remaining number is. Let's say it is 300 grams is what you're left with. Well, you put in 2 servings of rice, divide by 2, 150. So 45 grams of that rice raw is now 150 grams cooked. You can do this every time you make a recipe, you make rice. Weigh what you're using. You know what it was that you started with. Weigh it again, divide. It's very simple.
I might do that for a little bit, but I really just need to get acquainted with the with my rice cooker that I got at home. I have yet to use it.
Rice cooker, fantastic. In my opinion, even better than the rice cooker is the Instant Pot, because you can do everything with it. I'm gonna give you guys a link for Instant Pot and support the channel if you want. But yeah, use the Instant Pot, fantastic.
Because that's really the best way to go about it.
Or don't, make it on the
stove. At least if you're gonna be eating a lot of rice in one day, just, cook 400 grams of carbs worth of rice, have it hot and ready in the rice cooker all day, and then just scoop out of it as needed.
Why make more work for yourself? If you're going to eat it all day, make it in the morning, make it whenever. There is, on the Instant Pot, there's a keep warm button. I mean, don't leave the house. You don't want to start a fire, who knows? But you can hit the keep warm button, fucking do your thing, or unplug it, plug it back in, keep it warm, scoop your rice out, and you don't even have to put it away. Good idea, Sam. Good idea, Sam.
Cost-wise, this is definitely something to consider. You're going to be best off buying a lot of plain foods if you're looking for pure like calories per dollar. Massive like 10-pound bags of rice. Like I'd get massive sort of boxes of jasmine rice. I think that's what I better grab next.
Jasmine rice, one of my favorites, and 1000%, the more you can get in bulk, especially whole foods. You mentioned potatoes before. You're just giving yourself likely more bioavailable sources of nutrients that your body is going to digest a little bit easier than the processed shit. Not saying all processed stuff you can't have. Everything to some degree is processed, but I like the whole foods idea.
Weigh out this much rice, and then kind of just fill it with water enough where water is at the brim of the rice. Cover it with a paper towel, and then microwave for 5 minutes. Doing that, and then while it's ripping hot, cracking 3 eggs into it and kind of doing a little bit of a fried rice kind of situation.
I really like this hack because you also know if it's for one meal that you're microwaving the rice and adding the eggs in, you know exactly what's in it. You just put in 45 or 90 grams of rice, your 3 eggs, you know what the macros are. You're not scooping and saving for later. It's single serving. He says it takes 5 minutes. I think that's fantastic.
But in terms of real kind of instant quickness, these sort of Ben's Originals have never failed me.
My advice is don't spend the money on the Ben's if you're going to be eating a lot of it. Give yourself, make it in bulk, unless you're really in a rush, make it in bulk, scoop it out, and you also aren't going to have a lot of other ingredients that you may not want or you might not care.
Something like this, it's more of a just throw in the microwave, wait 2 minutes, throw onto your plate. But, $2.50 just...
And that's a really good point too. I mean, if you have a crazy day or you don't have the time in a day, I mean, I've got kids, businesses, 15,000 things going on. I'm working on the house, whatever. If you don't have time and it's I mean, there's a reason things cost more money that are easy and convenient. If it's easy and convenient and that works for you, go for it.
More so just on the personal preference side of things. I love these instant mac and cheeses of any variety, but I may only do kind of half the cheese just to mitigate a little bit of that fat intake.
Instant mac and cheese, he's bulking, he's eating fun foods. That's cool. If you heard him say he's gonna be getting rid of some of that cheese because even on his bulk, he doesn't want to go too crazy with the fats, I think that's a pretty good idea, especially if you can get more of those calories from carbs.
So something I am definitely accustomed to is slamming some of these pack ramens. If you weren't slamming a ton of food or slamming a ton of fluids and then you suddenly have like 3 of those one day, you might feel kind of puffy just because you're kind of gonna get hit with some water retention. Sodium, electrolytes, that's not your enemy, man. That's your fucking friend.
So this is the first thing I thought of when he mentioned top ramen. I mean, I think every once in a while it's totally fine. The thing for me that would keep me from slamming 3 of them is all of that salt I would have to be really mindful of. I would look puffy, sure, I would see it, all that, you wake up 4 pounds heavier, but I probably wouldn't feel so good having that much sodium. Sodium is not the enemy. I know I see all of you guys with the flags on your car. Don't blame sodium for what sugar did. I get it. It's cool. I agree with much of that, but I would not want so much salt that I'm retaining so much water that now I'm like kind of uncomfortable. Like would not be ideal for me. One of those once in a while, even if you wanted to have like half the little salt packet, that's probably a good idea. You don't really have to have the whole packet, you know, but I imagine one of those things probably has like, I'm assuming 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it. All right, let's go to the tape. Let's see top ramen. Okay. All right, 1,600 grams of sodium. They say 2,300 milligrams a day is about the recommended daily guideline for Americans. That has 1,600 in it. Obviously, athletes are gonna be having more than that. That makes sense. But again, you just probably want to be conscious of how much salt you're consuming, and there is a load of salt in those. Doesn't mean salt is bad. Don't go crazy, or you can go crazy if you want. Doesn't mean salt is bad, but I don't know that you want to be having that much salt at a time several times a day. It might make you feel uncomfortable. Let's see what else Sam has to say.
I think that's a good chunk of the fucking carb side of things. I think it's time to get some proteins.
I'd be going for cream of wheat. That's the thing that I don't think you got that works really good for me. Obviously, I'm not Sam Sulek. I'm not a pro bodybuilder, all that stuff. But for me personally, I love the rice. I see he has some treats in there. I'd be going with cream of wheat as well. And of course, vegetables, really good carbs as well. And loaded with micronutrients, loaded with fiber, soluble, insoluble, good stuff there too. I hope he gets some vegetables. Let's see what he does.
One thing that I really love about the sous vide, you know,
He's on the
little,
protein,
like,
I think.
essentially just a controlled water heater that I've been cooking the steaks in, is you can do tilapia in there as well.
Now this will be interesting if he goes on to steak, because he's saying he wants to limit fat in this bulk, which I think is a really good idea. Will he go for more like top sirloin, which I love, I eat all the time? Will he go for top round, which I'm actually marinating right now, a nice London broil? This will be interesting to see what Sam does with steak.
You know, putting anything in the sous vide has, which is that once it's cooked,
Using the sous vide, that's cool.
whatever meat you just cooked no longer has a sear on it. But honestly, fucking just kind of plain, like almost sort of boiled style tilapia, salt, pepper, lemon, that's fine with me, man.
So yeah, bulk or cut tilapia is a great food. I love whitefish. You're getting a really ample amount of protein for not a lot of calories. A little bit of healthy fat in there too, which is good. Really no carbs, but a little bit of healthy fat, a load of protein for a very calorically not so dense food. So that makes sense, bulk or cut.
People will rip on eating rabbit, you know, just because it's not, you know, covering every micronutrient. Dude, if you're eating a protein specifically for the protein that's contained within it, as long as it's a quality source, I'm not freaking out.
I think as a rule of thumb, it's good to get your protein from the most bioavailable sources possible. Is everything going to be the most bioavailable? Or even if you do consume plants, which I consume plants, will that protein be as bioavailable? It will not. I don't think that means you shouldn't consume the plants or the whole grains. I certainly do. As a rule of thumb, I do try to get my protein from the most bioavailable sources possible. The idea behind that is the more bioavailable it is, the more you can utilize out of it. You don't need to eat as much of it to have the same effect. You're using more of the protein. You're able to access more of the protein, I should say, that you're consuming. And who wants to eat 100 grams of protein and only be able to access 70 of it? So that's kind of the idea.
A little bit of tilapia there. I mean, it just goes down so fucking easy. I can definitely foresee in the future as this bulk progresses and it actually gets tricky to put down food.
That's another really good, interesting point between us natty folks and stuff like that, and maybe people that potentially aren't. I don't know Sam. I don't know. Think he's fantastic, but I don't know. A surplus that was difficult for me to put down food in is a surplus now where I am beyond, probably far beyond what I can utilize for these guys. You know, 100, 200, 300 calories a day surplus, even to 400 or 500 calories a day, I can eat an extra 500 calories a day. You know, it's not very hard. If I get to a point that I'm having trouble eating in the bulk, I am beyond muscle now. So a little bit of a difference with being a natty is caloric surplus. Luckily for me, I don't know if it's luckily, not being able to eat the food or having difficulty eating the food will not be a challenge on my next bulk.
Getting the food down becomes a concern. That's when I'm going to be much more specific with the types of foods that I'm eating. You know, making sure that my bowl of rice is well saturated with like some kind of barbecue sauce or something so it's nice and moist.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously not for maybe some of you hard gainers out there who have trouble putting on muscle. This is a little more of a thing, but I mean, I certainly would not be going any excessive sugary options that are just not going to be good for your blood sugar so much. But sauces, even with, you know, even honestly putting olive oil or a healthy avocado oil on something, your salads even, you know, having the calories in that way that's both palatable and easier to get down makes a lot of sense. If you're having trouble putting on muscle, you're like a hard gainer. For the rest of us, myself, my life, I struggled more in my life with keeping the fat off. Now I've been pretty darn lean for a while, and now I'm kind of going towards the bulking aspect. But the excess calories for me is not going to be an issue. For you guys that it is, sauces can be a good way to go. Just look at what you're putting in them.
Why, I mean, half the time I won't even make like individually plated meals. You know, I might just do like half a pound of ground beef mixed with some of that cooked rice, mixed with barbecue sauce, mixed with maybe some cheese, all kind of just in like a, you know, mixed up in sort of a sloppy Joe kind of stew in a way.
I make bowls of stuff all the time, whether I'm in maintenance like I am right now, approaching a cut even, or in a bulk. I think it's just a cool way to eat it. It makes it fun. It's like almost like a big taco bowl fiesta. So that's cool with me. I think it's a great idea.
If you got no problem appetite-wise, eat whatever the hell you want, as long as it's fitting your, you know, necessary criteria macro-wise. Yeah, a couple of ribeyes would be perfect. I'm no longer limited to just lean out.
Ribeye. So he is going for a fattier steak than I had thought he was. He's going for ribeyes. Yeah, guys, 100 grams of ribeye is about 19 grams of fat. So I thought he was going to go for a leaner steak. I was wrong. He's going to enjoy himself this bulk.
Cuts a top around, but
like me,
I kind of want to pick the ones that don't have like massive fat caps.
So he's looking for the ribeye without the massive fat cap.
At least a red meat intake. So
will he go for the 93.7 or less? I think he will. I think he's going to avoid the fat. Here we go.
Or no, even when I'm bulking up, I'm still going to get a relatively lean cut of steak or a lean percentage of ground beef, just because it's kind of, it's less of a hassle, you know. And I'm not saying this is a recommendation.
Really, really smart, especially if you're trying to avoid the, you know, the fat or something like that. The extra saturated fat too, I do not think is particularly healthy to be eating so much of it. I'm not saying in moderation, but I like that he's going to go for a leaner cut here. I think this is a real good idea.
But I've never had a problem when I strain like 96% beef and leaner. When I strain that into the sink, I never have a problem with anything clogging.
You can buy some lean beef to begin with. You can also strain it. To me, it kind of seems like a little bit of a hassle. So for me personally, I'd rather buy the leaner beef and just kind of eat it. I sometimes even get some of the oil out of the leaner beef. Sometimes it does seem to be a little fattier than I had expected.
Steak. So just saves a little bit on time and effort in terms of the actual cooking process. So 2 pounds of Laura's lean beef.
Laura's lean beef, I buy that one. That's very good, Sam. My man. My man from Amsterdam, Sam.
I'm talking sardines. I'm talking sardines. Look, if you're if you're on the, let's say if you're at all inclined to the primal lifestyle, then you are well aware of the nutrient density of sardines.
I am not inclined to the primal lifestyle. I do not eat enough sardines, but they are very, very cool. And I'm gonna take this as a impetus to include more sardines in my diet. Very good, Sam. Again, probably wanna watch the sodium a little bit there. And also I'm gonna be interested to see, is he conscious of if they're in oil or water? I think he will be.
So yeah, gross, fishy. You're gonna smell like fish. Maybe don't bring this in your school lunch or your office lunch.
Could be gross and fishy. You could also potentially add it to a salad dressing or a pasta sauce, something like that. Don't always have to eat them raw.
To just open one of these up. It's definitely kind of off-putting. In terms of the actual just fucking amount of shit that's in these, all I hear is good things. And one thing that I, I'm not a guy who's gonna say,
Rightfully so, they're really good for you.
in micronutrient you need from your food itself and not like,
My cats love them too.
Supplemented from vitamins or whatever else. But one thing that I can say I definitely do feel the benefits from is taking fish oil. May as well get it directly from the fucking source here.
Omega-3 fish oil, EPA, DHA, I mean, we don't get enough of them in our diet compared to omega-6s. They're fantastic. I take them twice daily also, or maybe once if I'm eating a lot of fatty fish that day. It's a great point. Sam is right.
I love the cream cheese and chives, little wafer cookie snacks that you throw in your kid's lunch. Plus a couple of Pringles, not for the sake of any dieting purpose, really just because I like them.
And that's one of the cool things with the bulk too. I mean, here and there, you can have a few more things that you just like. 1000%. If there's a time you're gonna get to do it, it's not gonna be during maintenance as much, certainly not in the cut. So yeah, that makes sense.
Making the majority of my calories, especially in the carb side of things, plain white rice, I'm fine with the Special K, just wheat-based cereal. I gotta ask my mom how she makes her potatoes. I know that's how I like them. So
Mom's potatoes, the Kier. Isn't that how that Eminem's song starts? Mom's potatoes. No, it's not Mom's potatoes. What is it? I think it's Mom's spaghetti. I thought it was Mom's potatoes. Okay. Key to bulking is Mom's potatoes.
But that's pretty much it. So I'm sure this will disappear faster than expected, and I'm gonna be in here more often than, way more often than I would be when I'm trying to diet down.
Sam, you are friggin' awesome. I love watching you talk. I love your philosophy on things. Even though we're a little different, I think there are some things that are the same. What can I take into my bulk? Well, a lot of the same foods that Sam eats, I'm gonna be eating. There's some meat in there. There's some healthy fats in there in terms of from the tilapia and the sardines and things like that. He's eating a lot of rice, which I love also. The things that I would not be applying to my bulk would be kind of all the snacky things. Maybe I wouldn't want to have a whole thing of Krispy Kremes in the house. Maybe I wouldn't want a whole box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch if I'm out and about and it's like, hey, you know what? I want an ice cream cone. I want a donut. That's cool, but I probably wouldn't want it to be a staple that I see all the time. Sam, this was an awesome bulk. I hope everything is good with you in your next bulk and your next cut. Look forward to watching and compete more in this year. And if you guys enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, comment, follow, set alerts, be a super, whatever you can do. I appreciate you guys. Let me know what you want to hear about next. And until next time, yeah.